This video is brought to you by
Cool green clothing coming straight up out of that DMV. You know what it is. This that Baltimore designer right here. Come on now, come and show some love and show some support. Go online right now, coolgreenclothing.com, and make your purchase. Oh yeah, by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. Revenge or retaliation. Since the beginning of time, some people feel like it's an eye for an eye. If you do something to me and my people, they feel like I gotta get my lick back and do something to you and yours. Most of us have felt the pain of losing loved ones to the streets. It's different from somebody passing away from sickness or natural causes. To know somebody pulled out a weapon and took someone you loved life, that makes you, as an individual, a different kind of mad. In every major city in America, you have young men and women jumping in the streets because they lost someone they were close to and feel they need to retaliate in their honor, or because they want the people responsible to feel their pain. But the thing about stepping off that sidewalk and into them streets is once you are in, or your circle decide to pick up that gun and get active, there's no going back. Your life changes forever. Now you create enemies, or like some like to say, ops. You now put yourself in a position you can't do things you used to do. You have to watch everything and everybody, because the same way you felt when somebody hurt your peoples, the people you got your get back on now feels that same way. Now it becomes a chess game, watching each other's every move, locations, seeing if you can find a weakness, and if the beef is deep, it usually doesn't stop, unfortunately, until somebody is gone. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of a man whose op used a woman to backdoor him to get revenge. Back in 2020, 29-year-old Marvin Kosh was navigating life in Baltimore. Almost 30 and trying to survive in the trenches, the man had been through a lot and seen a lot. But Marvin tried his best to keep a smile on his face, have fun, and live life. A few years prior, in 2016, Marvin took a major loss. His brother, who he spent a lot of time with and was very close to. Rewind back to January 19th, 2016. 22-year-old Maurice Kosh was sitting in his car about 2:30 p.m. broad daylight on South Culver Street in Southwest Baltimore, when someone walked up and shot in the car multiple times. Witnesses called BPD, who responded to the location, but unfortunately, it was too late, and Maurice was pronounced gone on the scene. Nobody came forward with information, and Maurice's case would go cold, leaving Marvin and his family to grieve. But the streets talked, and Marvin was connected, and he wanted to know who did that to his peoples. It was rumors going around that a man named Sean Braxton Carter and his peoples might have been responsible. So allegedly, this is when the beef would turn up. Marvin and Sean had already bumped heads in the streets, as rumors was floating around claiming that when Sean was shot in 2014, Marvin was the trigger man. The back and forth wouldn't stop there though. Come back to 2016, friends of both of the men were doubling back on each other, with a lot of shootings leaving people hit on both sides. Now it was a chess game to see who would slip up first. Back to 2020, Marvin was trying to stay low, already going through enough. He felt maybe he could chill and the beef died down. He often vibed out and hung out in the city, and like most men do, tried to find a decent female to kick it with. Somewhere in the mix, he would start chopping it up with a 36-year-old woman, who we will call Tasha for the sake of the story. Marvin was familiar with her from around the way, and the two had even linked up a few times prior. Marvin let his guards down with Tasha and felt he could trust her. In the early morning hours of February 2nd, 2020, Marvin was sliding through the city when he got a call from Tasha, asking him could he meet her at a vacant park by a school in the 2200 block of West Saratoga Street, in which he agreed. When he got there, Tasha flagged the car down, before then taking off running. Seconds later, multiple shots went off. BPD got a shot spotter alert at almost 3 a.m. That close to 10 shots had been fired. They responded to the location to find Marvin in his car, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately, he wouldn't survive his injuries. At first, police had no suspects or leads. It just seemed like an ambush, and as time went on, it seemed just like Maurice's case, Marvin's case will also go cold. Until surprisingly, Tasha went to the police station and offered information. She told detectives she knew Marvin and Sean, and that the two men had been beefing for years. She stated once Sean realized she was able to get close to Marvin, he told her, like, yo, you gonna help me set him up. She stated at first she said no, she didn't want no parts of that. But then she claimed Sean threatened to take her life and her family's life. So he could leave her alone, she agreed to the situation. The night of the hit, she called Marvin. Then as soon as he agreed to meet her, she stated Sean picked her up, they got to the location, and then they split up. Once she saw Marvin pull up, she stated she spoke to keep him at ease while Sean ran up. Then she took off running. With her confession, Tasha was taken into custody, charged with conspiracy to commit a hit. As police tracked down Sean, he remained silent, but his phone records put him on the scene at the same time of the shooting. When he was pulled over on May 2nd, 2022, before being brought in for questioning, he had a gun in the car. With Tasha being a key witness, Sean was charged with first-degree murder and handgun violations. As the case started making its way to trial, Tasha took the stand and ran down the chain of events. With that information, at first, it would be enough for Sean to be found guilty, until somebody blurted out in the courtroom, yeah, he killed Marvin's brother too, referring to Maurice. Feeling like this would cause bias in the case, his attorneys asked for a new trial, and it was granted. In the second trial, they pointed out how Tasha's story changed 3 different times, and that it was all hearsay, even with her telling them about the beef and back and forth shootings between the men. The person who blurted out the first time in the courtroom stated she thought because Sean had already been found guilty, she could say that. The prosecution offered Tasha a deal, 10 years in prison for her cooperation, and Sean's attorneys argued she got a sweetheart deal, as there was no evidence he shot Marvin, but she did admit to setting him up. But prosecutors claimed it was a clear case of revenge and retaliation. They felt Sean had a grudge from back when Marvin allegedly shot him in 2014. In the end, 35-year-old Sean was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to life plus 20 years in prison. Rest in peace to Maurice and Marvin. I send my prayers and condolences to the family. This was a cold situation. Like always, Sean used that Achilles heel against Marvin, a female, to get him after all these years. The cold part is, she only got 10 years for her role, as she claimed she was forced to do it. The lesson in this story is, once you jump in the streets, it's hard to get out. For all the hoppers who think it's cool to beef, carry blitz around, it's always fun when your side is winning, but it goes back and forth. And eye for an eye leaves everybody blind in the end. Yeah, Marvin is gone, but Sean will never touch the streets again. I wonder if we could sit down and ask him, was it worth it? What would he say? Probably no, because whatever pain they inflicted on each other doesn't go away just because somebody is not here no more, and the cycle continues. But hey, that's the Baltimore way. Man, crazy story. Rest in peace to both of them brothers and anybody else that lost their life or was hurt in this situation. But yeah, I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.